Dustin in Las Vegas.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good. I wanted to call in. I'm in a relationship with in the closet atheist, and I'm an atheist as well. This more relates to like my own personal experience with her parents, and sort of. Well, she goes to church with her parents in order to kind of, make them happy and just kind of, because she lives under their roof, and if they were to find out, she would ultimately be kicked out.
How old is she?
She is 20, and I'm 21.
Okay.
So I was invited a couple times and for like a board game night and a campfire to their church, and some of the stuff that I was hearing, was sort of like in favor of creationism and, being gay is a choice, and just sort of like these bigot things, and I just, I wanted to respond, but I kind of kept quiet, and my question is, like, how do you deal with those types of situations? Because, I feel like I have, like, a responsibility to say something, but at the same time, I can't, cause a fuss. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
You're looking at me, so I'm gonna.
I'll jump in later. You
Okay.
You go first.
You've got a really complicated situation here.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can outline all the different relationships. I mean, first of all, you are basically an open and intellectually honest atheist, from what I'm hearing, right?
Right.
And it is uncomfortable for you to lie about or disguise your points of view.
Right.
But I'm guessing you haven't said anything to her parents yet.
Well, I think they are under the impression that I'm an atheist, and
See, normally my advice to people, and this is terrible advice because, again, I am coming from a background of a loving atheist family.
Right.
But my usual advice for people who are old enough to stand on their own is that you should stand up for what you believe and be an out atheist, because it helps all the other atheists out there.
Yeah.
But we also advise people generally don't do things that are risky and dangerous to your well-being, whether it's your, financial survival or your actual survival if you're getting kicked out and being made homeless, which can happen to people.
Right.
So your girlfriend is fine being tied to a situation where she has to stay closeted, and you're fine being an open atheist, but then the two of you have some sort of an obligation to make each other happy while you're together, and you can't be upfront about what you think without threatening your girlfriend's living situation.
Yeah, that's exactly the situation. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, your choices are to. I guess I'm not being that helpful, but I'm just going to outline that the possibilities are: you avoid her parents completely. Well, that's not really an option because she lives with them.
Right.
Although, you could say, I'm not going to spend time with you while you're at your parents' place. You can come to my place, or we can go out to dinner or whatever, but I can't have that burden. Or you can hang around them and hide your beliefs, or you can hang around them and be upfront about your beliefs, which could lead to some fighting.
Right.
And
Yeah.
like I feel like dealing with family is not the time to get in these deep philosophical arguments because that makes your interpersonal relationships problematic. So
Yeah,
when
for
it
sure.
comes to my in-laws, for instance, I just at some point set some boundaries and said, look, I have really good reasons for being an atheist, but I'm not going to discuss them with you anymore.
Right. That's kind of the route that I've taken because I'm like you that I was raised in like in an atheistic background. I was never religious, so I guess maybe this situation is just it's hard for me to relate to people who have been in churches and in that sort of environment. So I guess me being open is not the best option. So
I mean, to me, it's also like it's just it's uncomfortable for me, sort of like it would be uncomfortable sitting around while a group of my acquaintances are making racist jokes, and I'm just like, like I can't not say something. I'm like, guys, that's not cool. Like, why are you making those jokes? And I think to me, there's no good long-term way to hide who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably agree with me that sooner or later it's going to come out that the girlfriend is an atheist, right?
Yeah, and she needs to do that in her own way and in her own time with her family.
Yeah, you can't really force it.
But she also has to maintain her relationship with her family, and if you're in a long-term relationship with her, they're your family too, in a way.
Right.
So you're going to have to continually be in their presence. And I always think it really depends, like, who's going to be the more mature person here. And unfortunately, it probably is going to have to be you. And they might come after you about things or try to witness to you. And to me, when my family does that, I just have to sort of politely smile and say, thanks, Grandma, for praying for me. Because she says, I'm going to pray for you. And what I hear is, I love you. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the way I hear it. She's praying for me because she cares about me and she loves me. If I allow myself to interpret that in a really harsh way, first of all, she doesn't mean it that way. She really genuinely cares about me. And so I'm always translating what my family is saying to me into language that I think communicates what they mean rather than what they're actually saying. So, I mean, I think she's going to have to come out eventually to her folks when she feels like she doesn't have to live with them financially, when she has the freedom to either live with you or live somewhere else.
Also, I'd amend what you said about how they're ultimately your family too, and the actual reality can be only to the extent that she wants them to be, because there are some people who just make a clean break from their family and decide once they've moved out, these people haven't really got a lot to offer me, and it's stressful to be around them.
I mean, that's not ideal. Like, people want
decision.
to make. I mean, I think people in general want to have a relationship with their families. I mean, that's, you're sort of stuck with them. Like, they're your blood, and if all things being equal, we'd like to be in relationship with our families. So that would be the ideal outcome, is that they could learn to accept where she's at. And a lot of times, I've talked to gay and lesbian people, Christians, about this too. They're afraid to come out to their family. They're afraid they'll be disowned by their family. And by and large, their family is like shocked, disappointed, sad, but ultimately says, I love you no matter what, and we'll get through this. Which may not be the answer that you're looking for. The person would be looking for an answer more like, oh, that's great, no big deal. I wish you'd told us sooner. That's not always the answer you're going to get, but a lot of times families surprise their kids. The kids think it's going to be this horrible thing, and the mom will say, oh, I already knew that.
Yeah.
So
that's what I think too, and I think that it might not be as bad as it seems.
Yeah, probably not.
That's what I try and.
Well, I'm gonna wish you luck and move it along. But drop us an email and let us know if anything happens.
For sure.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.